calendar. Okay, welcome everybody to our Tower Garden Zoom talk tonight. I see a lot of familiar faces, and hopefully there are some people on here that maybe have never heard of the Tower Garden before or have been interested and just want a little bit more information. My name is Corinne Chan, and I am a National Marketing Director with the Juice Plus Company, which is also a Tower Garden company. And I am by no means an expert, but I am a lover of Tower Gardens, you could call it. So my story is that I decided to try the Tower Garden last spring. I was becoming more and more passionate about Juice Plus and the products that we did have available, and one of them being the Tower Garden. But I honestly didn't feel like I could ever sell or share a product without having tried it myself. And I am not a gardener. My mother will attest that I do not have a green thumb in my body. So I was testing it more with the mind frame that I'm going to kill everything. It's going to be so hard. And then, obviously I'm not going to tell anybody about it. So I had gone to an event, and at that event, I heard from a grandma, and she and her family have 3 Tower Gardens. And she just talked about how she loved the fact that her grandkids were eating so many more fruits and vegetables as a result of the Tower Gardens. And with an almost 2-year-old at the time, that was definitely something that interested me. And she just said, it's a wonder our kids don't like eating fruits and vegetables because they don't taste good. What we buy at the grocery store, how many times have you gotten home with the produce that you've picked, and it just is so bland, right? It's so flavorless. And that really made me realize that, okay, this is something that we could do together, that he would be involved with, and hopefully he would eat some more fruits and vegetables. So, as I mentioned before, I do not have a green thumb in my body. I'd probably call it like a black thumb. I've got a plastic tree behind me that is still alive. Apparently plants need water. This is something I'm learning. And so I got started, ordered the Tower Garden, and I even kind of took the time to set it up because I thought, oh my goodness, this is going to be so painful to set up, and I'm going to have all these pieces everywhere. And when I finally decided to do it, it took 1 nap time for my little guy. So maybe an hour, if that, and that's probably because I don't read directions. So by the time I actually tried to set it up and then went to the direction book and actually set it up, and that was it. It was ready to go. And for the last year, I'm going to go ahead and show you some pictures now. So we started last March, April. There we go. We have been growing everything. So here's looks kind of space age of the Tower Garden here. But we've grown everything from lettuce to dill, Swiss chard, cucumbers, tomatoes, zucchini. There's a little bean there. Now, this was before the grow lights. So I'm going to go into detail in a little bit, but this was my Tower Garden just with the sunlight from the window throughout the spring and summer. I mean, look at it here. It just went bananas in the summertime. And this is somebody who doesn't have a green thumb in her body, and I do not even follow directions. So I don't even do all the maintenance that I could, and yet it thrived. Okay. Some peppers. And it's just amazing. And the reason, as I mentioned before, that I was super excited about setting up the Tower Garden was my little guy. So here he is picking a pepper right from our Tower Garden. And it just makes my heart smile. I mean, he was fighting me for lettuce the other day because he just couldn't wait to eat some lettuce off the Tower Garden. I love the fact that in the morning I can walk into my living room and grab the greens that I want for my smoothie for the day. And then I know the other day my little guy wanted peppers and I didn't want to go to the grocery store. And then I remembered that we have little mini bell peppers growing on our Tower Garden. So we just grabbed the ones that were ready, threw them on the barbecue, and there you go. So I know many of you are wondering, besides those pictures you have here, I'm going to assume that there are people on here that have never heard of a tower garden or definitely want some more in-depth information. So what is our tower garden? So this is our tower garden website. And I'm a visual learner, so I really wanted to show pictures instead of you just having to stare at my face for a little bit. So the tower garden, what I love here, there's an awesome video because our tower garden uses aeroponics, and that's what makes it different than other growing systems. So I'm going to show you a very short, less than 2-minute video on what is the tower garden.
Tower Garden's state-of-the-art aeroponic vertical garden system uses both water and air to produce more colorful, better-tasting, and incredibly nutritious fruits, vegetables, and herbs. Tower Garden has a 20-gallon reservoir at its base that stores the Tower Tonic nutrient solution. Developed by experts in plant and human nutrition, Tower Tonic Mineral Blend enables superior plant growth and better nutrition from your Tower Garden produce. The process begins once the seedlings have been placed in your tower garden. Here they will be nourished with Tower Tonic nutrient solution. Inside the reservoir is a small, low-wattage submersible pump. The pump pushes the nutrient solution up through the tower to the top. From there, the nutrient solution drips through the central tower using a special device that evenly cascades the solution over the exposed plant roots. On the journey down the tower, the nutrient solution feeds the roots and becomes highly oxygenated as it cascades gently down the reservoir. This process is continuous, providing fresh oxygen, water, and nutrients to the roots of the plants. This patented aeroponic process enables food crops to grow faster than they would in soil, so they can be harvested more often. And it makes Tower Garden a healthier, easier, smarter way to grow your produce.
Alrighty, so that's obviously a lot easier than me trying to explain it to you. You can grow 30% more healthy food, and that's based on research, 3 times faster than traditional gardening. And so you've seen the video. Now I'm going to just show you here. Bear with me. Just got me to the second. Okay, so what is the tower garden? So here we go, as well as 90% less water, because as you saw, that water is just cascading down and being recycled over and over and over again. So how the tower garden works is, as I mentioned before, it's minimal setup. They say 20 to 25 minutes if you're following the instruction booklet, okay? The plants grow in something called rock wool, and that comes with the tower garden when you purchase it. And it says usually after about 3 weeks you can plant them into your tower garden. It really varies on the plant, but some can be planted even in less time. And the reservoir at the bottom, as you saw, it contains that water and nutrient solution. And again, that tonic comes with the tower garden when you order it. And the result of that concoction that's been created and mixed for you for that perfect solution is going to allow your plants to just thrive. So you've got a 20-gallon reservoir at the bottom where you mix it. And then it's that cascading solution of the oxygen and the water that goes through that low wattage pump that allows those exposed plant roots just to thrive. And I know I was showing some pictures of my tower garden here, but it's incredible. I'm just going to show you what the roots look like, because with traditional soil, we don't often see the roots. So that's one of my plant roots, which is just incredible. And it's just clear, like white, healthy plant roots, which is just insane. Now, oftentimes, here we go, we've got one more thing, is that within a few weeks, plants are harvest ready. So again, it sort of depends on the plants. But I find that greens and a lot of herbs produce so quickly that you can be harvesting from seed to, you know, the time you're ready to eat within about a month. And I'm just going to bring up some frequently asked questions here because these are the questions that you probably have. But with a show of hands, oh, don't mind me, I was just going to go back here. How many of you are busy in the process right now of trying to grow your traditional garden outside? So you know what's involved in that. And I just love that with the tower garden, it's so easy peasy, right? It's really just a matter of the setup, adding the solution, plugging it in, and you're good to go, planting the seeds there. So is tower garden organic? We get that question so often, and what I've learned is that organic means that it's actually soil is involved in that process. And so we can't classify our tower garden as organic, but it's equally safe and healthy and so much more efficient because it's converting that organic matter in such a quick way that you have that higher growth rate and higher yields that we like to refer to it as better than organic or beyond organic because you're getting all the same results, if not better, without the dirt. What is our tower garden made of? Now, I'm so proud of the fact that it's made of UV stabilized food grade plastic. So this is the highest quality plastic with lots of compliance and following those guidelines. So this is a product that's going to last you a lifetime. The dimensions, so you'll be happy to know that the tower garden, that 20-gallon reservoir at the bottom is 30 by 30, so less than 3 feet wide. With the traditional tower garden that holds 20 plants, you're looking at just over 5 feet tall. And by adding an extension kit, which allows you to grow 8 more plants, you're up to 81 inches, which is about not quite 7, 6 feet and a half, 6.5 feet tall, a little bit more. And it's 3 feet by 3 feet. So really, you can tower garden almost anywhere. You can purchase it off of the website. So whoever invited you here tonight can help you out with that. Again, we talked about how the tower garden, you can plant 20 different plants, up to 28 if you add an extension kit. And what can you grow with the tower garden? So you'll be happy to know that you can grow more than 150 different plants, with the exception of any root vegetables, because that rock wool is sitting inside a little plastic, looks like a little basket. And so you can't have anything that grows down into there. And then you can't have any, obviously, big bushes or trees, right? So if we look here at all of the different fruits and vegetables that you can grow, you've got all of these awesome fruits and vegetables. So everything from cauliflower to cucumbers to strawberries. And you've got a variety of herbs. So I know right now in my tower garden, we've got basil, we've got dill, we've got chives. And then you've got lots of different flowers. I know I grew a little dwarf sunflower in mine. And a lot of people like to use them for growing edible flowers. So lots of different plants that you can grow with your tower garden. And I know what you're probably wondering now is, how much does this cost? And so I'm just going to show you what the cost is of the tower garden. So if we go up now and we're going to shop for a tower garden, the tower garden kit comes with all of this that you see here. So everything you need to get started. But I like to say for outdoor gardening, because if you are going to grow year round, which you can, you're going to need grow lights. And I always recommend these 3 accessories. So we've got the tower garden itself. And then I highly recommend the dolly. When I originally purchased my tower garden, I was cheap, to be honest, and I didn't get the dolly. I thought I don't going to need it. But anytime you need to refill your tower garden, you have to physically, bring jugs of water to wherever it is. So based on my experience, I'm going to tell you the wheels are priceless, and it's $84, as well as a support cage. So not only does a support cage support plants, any plants that, grow bigger than, really small plants. So probably over half of my plants are using that support cage, but it also supports the grow lights. I didn't have my grow lights from April until December. I ordered them in January, and it made a huge difference because these grow lights are obviously very powerful lights, as well as the reflectors that are on there. So while my fruits and vegetables were growing, I was not getting the yield that I get now by having those grow lights on. Now my plants are actually, I'm able to eat off them within 4 weeks instead of just kind of watching them grow and then that's it. So I would highly recommend those 3 accessories. And what I love is when you choose 3 accessories, you also get 30% off of shipping, which makes a difference. So here we go. When we go to checkout with the Tower Garden itself and those 3 accessories, based on, I'm going to choose Alberta for the province because I'm assuming the majority of you are from Alberta, and if not, you can definitely ask the person who invited you or go on our Tower Garden website. So an average of $100 a month or $1,200 if you pay in full. I think that's very cost effective. However, now you're probably wondering, okay, well, what are the benefits of me making, this large investment? So some of the benefits of tower gardening. Just going to scroll down here to the bottom. There we go. Are that your food is so much healthier. Imagine if you could walk into your living room or your basement or even a heated garage or outside and year-round have living produce growing that you could eat off of. And like I mentioned before, I mean, kids especially, I know Brandon, I see it in him. He's way more likely to be picking produce off the Tower Garden than just grabbing it in the grocery store. I was so impressed at the different fruits and vegetables and what they looked like when I grew them myself, because I am not a gardener. And so, what celery actually looks and tastes like when it hasn't been genetically modified to look good in the grocery store is so different. And kale is just so vibrant and it just smells and tastes so much better. What we're getting in the grocery stores, we know has been, unfortunately, they've had to use different herbicides and pesticides in order for it to get to us looking the way it's supposed to, so that we'll buy it and bring it home. And it's picked weeks early so that by the time it gets to us, it actually looks right. And so it's so much healthier. It's so much more nutrient dense. And again, like I mentioned before, you don't need a green thumb. You get all the benefits of the traditional gardening without those back-breaking efforts. So you've got the grow lights or outdoors if you're planning to grow outdoors, which you can this time of year now. Comes with everything you need to get going. Tolerates extreme weather conditions. And it reduces the risk of pests, plant diseases. And you don't need to dig or weed or till or even water. It's actually set on a timer. So your pump goes on for 15 minutes on, and then depending, I know for myself, I have it off for 45 minutes, and then every hour on the hour for 12 hours a day, it kicks on and it waters my plants. Therefore, they're still alive. And you get a respectable return. So I'm going to show you a little bit of research that was done just a few years ago that shows you in as little as 6 months, you could be already having a return on that original investment that you've made on your tower garden. So there's lots of information here, but what I love is this chart at the bottom. And again, this is outdated now. This is 2 years old, and I believe this is much greater based on the cost of produce nowadays at the grocery store. So this is based on the most popular plants that people are planting in the tower garden. And it shows that in as little as 6 months, you could have a yield of $796. Now, this was based on an original investment of $692, so I'm assuming that wasn't with the grow lights. But again, if you're looking at $1,200 for that original investment, within a year, you're looking at $1,600 in yield. So again, you're on the plus side. And this is something that, as I mentioned before, you've got the highest food grade plastic that's going to last you a lifetime. So you're going to have a benefit no matter what. And if you are a gardener, then you probably are just loving, this time of year as you're getting your garden ready, and then up until the fall when you're still harvesting off of your garden. But imagine being able to do that in November, in January, in March. It's just amazing. And like I said, I'm not even a gardener, and I get excited about that. So the next thing I wanted to share with you was the actual cost of running a tower garden. Some people are curious about that. What is it going to cost me? So we have an awesome support group called Tower Talk that you can find directly on our website. It's at the bottom here. And it's a website designed to be very interactive where people can get answers to their most commonly asked questions. And it's very interactive. So I just searched the word cost and got this article here that shows you that with all of the electrical appliances associated with our tower garden, using the pump, the timers, the grow lights, you've got the pump and timer looking at pennies a day to run. I've not noticed a difference in my electricity bill whatsoever. And then the grow lights at 54 watts for the bulbs. They use as much energy and wattage as a common household lamp. So they estimated the cost at about $11 a month or $132 a year, which to me is very minimal based on, again, that return that you're getting from growing your own food year-round. Now, not only can you grow a tower garden in your home, you can also grow a tower garden at school. I know one of the ladies who's on here tonight was saying that she has a restaurant that just purchased 3 tower gardens. We have a school principal who just talked about how he ordered one just last night for his school. So if you're interested in getting some information on a school tower garden, we have an awesome link here that shows you why the tower garden is a great teaching tool. As a former elementary school teacher myself, I only wish that I had known about the tower garden back in the day, because I just see what it's doing for my little guy, Brandon, who's like I say 3 years old. It's disappointing to see all of the kids who don't know about the variety of fruits and vegetables. I know one of my girlfriends who's a teacher was saying she teaches junior high, and she polled her kids to see how many of them have ever gardened, and there were very few of them that had ever been involved in gardening. So the fact that you could be doing that for your kids and for a classroom of kids, teaching future generations, is just priceless. So there are awesome resources here showing you how you could grow more food in less time with very little resources. Growing inside the classroom, which is just awesome. Little mess, because again, there's no soil. You can move it around using the wheels that I talked about earlier. And there's tons of support. There's lesson plans, growing plans. Again, you have those frequently asked questions in the Tower Talk, where you get tons of information and resources that you need. So you're not just buying it and then you're left alone. Now, I have some people who have graciously offered to help me out tonight by sharing, because I'm sure you want to hear from somebody else other than myself. So Michelle here, I'm going to unmute. And I just love watching Michelle's posts because she constantly posts on Facebook about her journey with the Tower Garden. And I've asked her just to share a little bit of why she decided to make that investment and what kind of benefits she's noticed for her and her family. So Michelle, if you could please share with us. Oh, hold on, you're muted. Go.
Thanks, Corrine, for having me on tonight. I really appreciate that. And yeah, I've been growing my tower garden since last October is when I purchased it, and I actually got growing about a month later. We have a big farm, and I grow several things traditionally, and I've done it for several years. I grew up gardening. I grew up with the value of gardening and love the freshness, knowing where my food comes from. The value in it is priceless, really, when you can grow your own. And it's a lot of work outside, prepping the soil. I've spent days and days this year prepping my soil because our soil it just needs some tender loving care. And I could have had my garden in, but I had so much work to do with it. So I'm going to be gardening the rest of this week, and I'll be done in time for that big rain we're going to get. So I'm excited about that. But I first heard about Tower Garden in 2014. I was on vacation down in the tropics. I was in Hawaii, and where we were renting a place to stay was a natural holistic practitioner, and they were getting excited for the Tower Garden coming to her place, and she was very sad that I was going to miss seeing it get set up. I didn't know what she was really talking about, and I didn't quite understand why she wanted a Tower Garden. I had seen her beautiful orchard. I got to stay on their estate. They had tangerines, they had avocados and bananas and all these beautiful trees. And she wanted something for her deck patio and something that she could grow her own. She called it organic, and I knew better. As a farmer, you can't pull organic off on me. And I wasn't too impressed with her statement that it was organic. So I just kind of poo-pooed the idea and thought, I don't know what she needs this for, and didn't understand a thing. Once I got home, she kept sharing and showing me pictures. And she was lucky to be harvesting and making smoothies and enjoying her own produce just right off her back step. And she couldn't wait to order another one. And I thought, wow, good for her. Glad she liked it, and I'm glad it was successful. So when I found out Tower Garden was available in our country, because I thought it was for the States only, and here we're in several countries around the world. Tower Garden isn't in all 26 countries, but we do have Tower Garden in across North America, and I'm happy to be growing my own now. So when I finished up gardening in the fall, I quickly ordered my Tower Garden after I got home from a convention down in Nashville. We got to listen to Tim Blank, and he's the founder of the Tower Garden. He worked at the Epcot Center for 4 years, and he really brought the commercial aeroponic system into a home gardening system that anybody can run. If you look at your book, it looks like a grade 3-year-old, a grade 3-er could read it and set it up and run it successfully. I thought with the research that I did that it had to be more difficult than that, but it's really not. I thought it was a huge challenge because I don't grow anything in my house. I slowly kill it by loving it to death. And I just didn't think it was going to be possible that if I can grow indoors, anybody can do it. I allow the grace of God outside to help me, and I produce a beautiful garden outside, but it's only with Mother Nature helping me. So very happy when I set my garden up in November. Within 4 weeks, we were actually eating lettuce off of our Tower Garden every single day. And my goal was to bless my family with greens for Christmas. I told them I was gonna fill their stockings with greens for Christmas. And they were all really impressed. But when we actually set the garden up, and I will say I did buy a little heat mat and a small lamp to go on my side table in the living room. And I started my plants right there. And I really do encourage. It costed me, let's say, it was about $120 for that setup, and it'll last me for years and years and years. And if you want to give your plants a really good start, you don't need it, but I really loved how my plants grew so fast, really quickly. It was like having them in the tower garden right from sprouts, right from seeds. And I couldn't believe that I could actually grow my own pepper. I could grow my own cherry tomato. I've never had success growing my tomatoes in the house, starting them in trays. They slowly would sprout and then die. So this way it's been successful. We've harvested lots of lettuce, lots of parsley, cilantro, basil. It turned into, I now call it my tower jungle. It is a tower jungle. So happy to share that the convenience is incredible. The clean, like it's clean produce. I can pick it and eat it and not worry about what's on my food. I know where it comes from. And it's like arugula, for example. Arugula has a really strong spicy flavor to it, but you actually wouldn't know that from what you buy in the store or what you get served in a restaurant. It isn't that spicy. It's quite tame. But when you grow it right off the garden and pick it and eat it, wow, you're in for a real treat. It's amazing. So yeah, I'm really happy with how things have produced. I even had my tower garden shut off on me by accident. I had a puppy shut it off, and it was without water for 20 hours. It was not good that that happened, but everything that, like, I lost very few plants. Everything survived. I took things apart and I cleaned it out prematurely because of that happening. But I was able to salvage my lettuce even. I couldn't believe it. So it's very user-friendly. I can go away. When I went away for a weekend in Banff, I was able to fill up my tower garden reservoir, and I checked my pH level, and everything looked good. Off I went to Banff. I told my husband, don't worry about a thing. I'll check it when I get home. Just make sure, you know, the power's on. That's about all it needs. And I was happy to say 2 weeks later, I filled it back up with water. Like, I did nothing but eat off of it and love it. It's really brought our family together. We would come home and it's like having a pet. So you come home and you look and see how much it's grown. You can literally see from morning to night how much it's grown. So I love that. So thanks a lot for letting me share.
Oh, thank you so much. Should have had Michelle with that. I want to eat off the tower garden right now. I agree with you. It's so user friendly, like you said. And I mean, I've gone away for a week at a time and had the same results. And it's just, it thrives, right? Because like you said, all it needs is power, which is just amazing. I have one more person who's going to share. I apologize. I had somebody just hop on and I went to mute you and cut your video up. So I apologize for that, but I'm just going to unmute Carrie. Now, Carrie is driving, but she has asked if she could just share some of the benefits. She's had a tower garden now for a few months too. So Carrie, I know you can't see her, but she said she had a few things to add.
Hi, everyone. Corinne, can you hear me?
I can, yeah, thanks.
Oh, awesome. So, yeah, just joining this meeting now, and we have had our tower garden for a while and loving it. And what I also wanted to add was the simplicity of it. So when you order a tower garden, it does walk you through step by step, all the how-tos. But I also want to tell you that even if you don't follow those, their success still happens. So I have two girlfriends that didn't follow the steps accurately. They didn't start their seeds in rock wool in a separate area. They plunked seeds in their rock wool and threw it in the tower and wished it all luck. And they have greens growing and everything is producing. So they just felt that they didn't want this to be finicky. They didn't really have the time and, you know, to follow protocol, which wasn't really time consuming, but this is what they wanted to do. And they really felt confident that, like, heck, what have I got to lose? Nothing's going to be ruined, and I will just restart these plants if they don't come. But sure enough, everything came and is producing, and they're just as happy with their tower as mine, who my husband has taken over as his project, and he's very meticulous about following protocol for sure. One thing I will add that, not everything maybe is best for the tower garden, and perhaps you've covered that already, right? Obviously our root vegetables, and we are experiencing firsthand that perhaps strawberries are not the best within the mix of your greens and your other things. There are many articles written that strawberries like a lower pH level than the other greens. We want to have our tower garden at a balanced pH or a neutral pH, and strawberries like it more acidic. So my husband is keen to get a second tower of just strawberries. So if you're hoping to have success with strawberries alongside your kale and peppers, it might not happen in that way, and that could be why. So it's not really a tower garden issue. That's just a plant-specific detail to that plant. So would add that there.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Carrie. And yes, as we're learning, and that's why we have awesome resources available. If you were to invest in a tower garden, you're not left hanging to dry and trying to figure everything out. But yeah, what we're learning is something like the strawberries, you definitely need your own tower garden of strawberries. So you're probably going to want to order 2 tower gardens, right? One for your strawberries and one for everything else. But again, our purpose tonight was just to share that you don't need a green thumb. I know most of you are in the process of, like I said, either growing your own garden, or maybe you're like me and you've tried traditional gardening and it's just not for you. I know I was super excited when we moved in because I thought, yay, we have this huge garden space, but the amount of work it took to prepare, like Michelle said, to get that soil ready and everything, plant, and then the upkeep so you can actually have a good yield was just way more work than I was willing to put in. And so I just love the fact that you can do both. You don't have to not do the traditional garden, but the fact that in Alberta, we can garden year round, indoors or outdoors in the, the nice weather is just incredible. So I really appreciate everybody taking their time tonight to join us. Thank you, Michelle, for sharing, and Carrie. I did record tonight's Zoom call, so I will definitely put that up on our team website if there is somebody that you'd like to share it with. And please get back to the person who invited you, and they can hook you up with whatever you need. And just know that our mission is to inspire healthy living around the world. And the Tower Garden is just the most incredible way to do so, because we're just encouraging you to not only eat more fruits and vegetables, but grow them yourself, so you'll be more inclined to do so. So thank you so much. I'm just going to go ahead and stop the recording. And if anybody has any quick questions, you can do that now.